I invite these two eminent speakers, Mr. Sanjay Sahai, Additional Director General of Karnataka Police on stage. Sir, please welcome him with a round of applause. And Mr. Brijesh Singh, Special Inspector General of CID, Maharashtra Police. Please invite Mr. Singh with a round of applause. He is also a prolific writer. He has written a book also. And I will, maybe you can decide among yourself, but Mr. Sanjay Sahai has a PPT to present, so I will request him to present a PPT.
Good evening, friends. No good evening? I'll take you through a roller coaster ride. I'll not allow you to sleep anywhere. Correct. Everybody is up, I suppose? Correct. So my brief introduction, because I'll give you a brief introduction of mine, and that will help you understand as to where I come from. But for that, I'm a postgraduate in history from St. Stephen's College in Delhi, and I belong to the 1989 batch of the Indian Police Service, born on Karnataka cadre. Over the last 5-6 years, in 3 slides, I'll give you my introduction. I've created an ERP, which is nearly 2.5 million lines of coding, 517 screens and 422 reports. And we have been running a live system for last nearly 5 years. 10 lakh cases are there on the live system, 1.4 terabytes of data we have. It was reviewed very recently, I think 26th of August, by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, and it turns out to be one of the best ecosystems created in this country. Correct. And we have our own Karnataka State Police wide area network, 1507 locations we run on a purely online system. We don't believe in any offline system. There has been instances where we connected the SP's office after putting optic fiber for nearly 11 kilometers. And there's a police station with which we struggled for nearly 4 years to bring it online. Correct. So we have our integrated system of VPN over broadband, MPLS, and internet lease line aggregating into the data center, which we own, run and operate on our own. And there are constables who are MCSE, CCNA trained. And there's a constable who run the data center. Nearly 6 engineers of HP report to that particular constable. His name is Kumar. So there's something talking about capacity enhancement and the like. We run our own data center, and we have a disaster recovery center in Delhi at Shastri Park. That's the only critical component which is maintained by the NIC. Correct. So now we come to the topic. We have been talking about smart cities. Smart cities is something which has come in vogue, I think, in the last 2 years or so. Nonetheless, cities have been smart all the while. That is what I presume. Chandigarh is one shining example. I think Gurgaon tried to follow suit. Somewhere in the infrastructural side, there are lots of issues which came up. In my bit of a research regarding smart city, when I was supposed to deliver a lecture, the 21st Advanced Computing Conference at IIT Madras. So I went through the whole thing. So somehow I was forced to presume that the smart city concept is primarily digital in nature and is a value add when all the other systems are in place. If I'm right, starting from Amsterdam to Barcelona and the like. So we will take you from where we ought to start, and coming to a smart city, I think the primary concern is certainly safety and security. Safety and security, you see in countries, you see in kingdoms, you see in states, until less you don't have law and order and crime and all these things in place, and you don't have sanity of your existence, I don't think any economic development can take place. 9/11 has been the watershed in modern human history. Internal security and technology came onto the center stage, and they have remained there since then. Correct. What changed? The attack on the World Trade Center in 2001 has been by far the single most important event in the history of modern world, and more so because it forced the world to change. The perception on the nature of organization, usage of technology, the responses, consolidation of activities, and spread of mechanism needed to thwart terrorism. But what happened after that? Where are we in 2015? The response of the world to whatever happened on 9th of September 2001, in hindsight, has it been right or wrong? Right or wrong? No answers. The response of the world in hindsight to whatever happened on 9th of September and henceforth was right or wrong? Yes or no? No, this is the type of a response I generally find in colleges and schools is not accepted out of a very professional audience. Right or wrong? Wrong. Okay, there is a book which is by name America's Uncertainty or something. You read that book, you will get a fair idea. As far as I am concerned, I am not going to pass any value judgment. Nonetheless, from there, if you come on to the 13th, the Friday of this month itself, now the responses have completely changed. The backdrop has changed and everybody is coming together to get into some sort of a united front. I will not take upon myself to delineate the physical security and the cyber security part of it over the course of whatever I talk in next 20, 25, 30 minutes. I think we will finally realize the seamless world and everything will get integrated into each other. After Paris attacks, I am not talking about the attacks itself, encrypted communication is back in spotlight. What is the issue with encrypted communication? Any idea? No idea. What is the issue with encrypted communication? It is not difficult to decode, it cannot be decoded. A state which does not have the capability to decrypt any communication in case of a threat to national sovereignty and territorial integrity will not be able to deliver its prime duty of sovereignty, territorial integrity and your life and liberty. Correct? So there has to be ways and means which has to be found out. Tomorrow a thief says that if I take this route, you please don't come. And that becomes acceptable to 193 nation states across the globe. Correct? The ISIS Geek Squad is teaching terrorists how to use encryption and communication platforms like silent circuit, Telegram and WhatsApp, and Telegram has been the main mode of communication as has been reported in the international media. So the principal lesson which we learn, and I will keep giving you instances of so many of the cities for the simple reason, we are here to discuss what? Smart city, safe city, back end operating on. What does the smart city operate at the back end? Internet, anything else? IT, correct? You work on SCADA, correct? Do you? Don't you? You worked on SCADA. Let's get slightly technical. So terrorism is the biggest threat the world is facing today, and as is the history. Who will bear the brunt? Mumbai, Paris, Madrid, London. Correct. Cities will bear the brunt because that is where terror can emanate in a manner that the whole world will get scared. And the one single aim which a terrorist or a terrorist organization has is to create fear psychosis. You just be scared to move out of your house and they have achieved their objective. Correct. CIA Director John Brennan. You won't be familiar with his face, so I wrote his name so that you get connected to it. If the CIA Director's email account gets hacked, what is the impact? Who will he provide security to? What investigation can he do? So these are the nature of attacks, breaches, hacking. They conduct so as to create a fear in the minds of people that everything is porous, hackable, breachable. You name it, you have it. Correct? It's a seamless world. I will not differentiate between physical security, cyber security, this security, that security. Only in this country we put E, I, all sorts of things. All around the place as a prefix and not as a suffix to anything. It is a seamless world. Let's move further. So last year has been quite an interesting year, and we started with Sony and Anthem attacks. After the Sony attack, US President Barack Obama, he came to a press conference not with a national security advisor, but I think CEO or top employee of a company called FireEye. What does it prove? it proves only one thing, that henceforth this world, and this world only will be only digital, that there is no other world anywhere, would be a public-private partnership. Correct? The skills, knowledge sets, governance, policies cannot be created, maintained, supervised, deployed, enforced, either by the government or by the private sector. Correct? And midway between all these, there are lots and lots of organizations which will come, would be research organizations, would be civil activists, all sorts of organizations will come. We have reached the stage wherein there is sharing of data about cyber threats, and a cyber threat intelligence integration center is going to come up in the United States, and the cyber security budget for the present year is $14.5 billion only. And $14.5 billion, I think, would be more than the amount we spend on all the police forces in this country for 125 crore population, and they have a population of around 37 crore. Right. So, these people in Mexico, they have created a nationwide encrypted cellular radio telecommunication system. These great guys. And they are call drops in the US. So, this is the response of world's strongest economic power and presumably the world's strongest military power also. This APT attack 30, it was running for nearly 10 years before we were able to detect. Correct. We will move further, I will not take much of your time. Nonetheless, at least I will make some worthwhile contribution to your whole day of time which you have already spent. So, the critical infrastructure, correct, electricity grid, 911, dispatch systems, air traffic control, stock market, drinking water, streets, hospitals, sanitation. There might be a couple of things you will not agree with me for the simple reason that those utilities have not reached the level of what I am talking about. But as and when it reaches a level of a smart city, I think everything will be literally controlled by technology and by internet in so many ways and means, and can be played around with in a manner which is unimaginable. Correct? So, this is the safe city concept. So, please understand, this is the underbelly of safe city as well. And what I have been listening in the last discussion which was going on, we talk of technology, transparency, probity and the like. But there is a whole world and there is a whole baggage which comes with technology. Correct. And what can happen with technology, what cannot happen with technology, I think it is our job to understand. We are living in an age where we have moved from linear to exponential. Human brain thinks only linear. We are forced to think exponential. It is a lily pool sort of a story which they say, till 29th day it's half. Till 20th day it is some 2% or 1%. On the 30th day you are all over. That is what is happening in most of the work which has been happening since 2001 of the Saddam Hussein days. It's not that in 2014 ISIS got some sort of a strength and all of a sudden it came into the forefront. All these things have been adding up. We have not been able to see. That is our problem. Correct. So, talking about safe and secure cities, it has come in vogue very recently. I have been talking about this for last nearly 5 years, and it is already through the copywriting process. Without getting into further details, I will give you 6 technologies which will help transform safe cities into really safe cities, and you will have a sense of comfort which would be unimaginable. So, first and foremost is command and control center. It works on the software called C4I. What is C4I? Command, control, communication, control, communication with, it started with, not intelligence. No. The private sector guys will have to help me. It started with interoperability. Now it has become and or, whichever we call it, and that computer has been added with computation also. Correct. Interception system, that is cyber security I will be talking about, interception system, which is the backbone, the bulwark of National Security Agency. It was in the year 1955 or 1956, they were provided the powers to intercept any sort of communication, certainly legally, which would adversely impact the territorial integrity, sovereignty and citizens of the US. City-based video surveillance system with video analytics, I think all of you are aware of. Unfortunately, it has not been successful in the type which it should happen anywhere in this country. I think Surat is one of the better examples, and in Bhubaneswar also some work is going on. So until unless we are able to create a system wherein we have a feeling of a city-based video surveillance system, wherein we know that clearly every activity in the city is being recorded, monitored in the manner it should be. In the manner it should be. Putting up cameras is not enough. It has to be a system. The coverage area is most important. And rather than covering all around the place, where you have your footfalls, where you have your issues, where there is a threat perception, if that area is fully covered, I think that is a much better deal than putting cameras all around the place. Correct? So this is a system which I talk about, and the integrated city-based video surveillance national network. So 5-6 cities come together and you have a national network. The other thing is the Tetra radio network. Tetra radio network, we see most of the terrorist attack, the GSM fails. And this is something what we call as the terrestrial trunk radio. It has been created by European Telecommunications Union, the same configuration, the same guys who created GSM. 2 years after GSM in 1998, it has been successful in nearly, I think, 70 odd countries, but failed in India. And failed when? During the Commonwealth Games. Correct. Can we blame the technology or not? Correct. If everything fails, you blame the technology. That's the best part. You don't have capability to integrate, you don't have the capabilities to execute projects, you don't have so many capabilities, and you don't even have the attitude and the capability to put in efforts which is required for that particular project. So it's a very simple thing, you blame the technology and move ahead. So this is the model which I have created, as I'm not sure when it will get created, but finally all these different technological platforms get integrated at some location in the country and finally get integrated into National Homeland Security Resource Base and Incident Support System. Correct. What is the status of cyber security in this country? Can anybody tell me? Are you comfortable with your digital existence, that you are safe and secure and nothing is going to happen to you? Yes or no? Okay, what is your level of comfort with digital technology as far as the security is concerned? What percent? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would it be? Huh? 5 or 6? Correct. We have got very optimistic people. Correct. The day hacker decides to hack your account or whichever things he wants to breach in, nearly 70% of the times they are able to do in couple of minutes. Another 25% they are able to do in 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so, and it's only 2-3% which takes a longer time. The FBI report says that if 30 top hackers or hacking groups in the world come together, they will be able to take control of this world. Correct. Your Symantec or some of these organizations, source code itself was stolen. So antivirus was being sold by the company also and by the hacking group also. Correct. So that is big business. I'll take some of your time, but nonetheless, I'll give you something to take away from this lecture and would help you in your personal life and your professional life wherever you are located. Correct. So there's a definition of cyberspace. There is no need to get into this definition because it covers the world. Correct. And there is the cyberspace. I think prepared this slide some 1.5 years back, and there is a large number of numbers, and I don't come from a mathematics background. So I thought this is sufficient. There is no need to change the slide. So I think this number is sufficient enough to impress upon you guys that this is a huge thing and literally anything and everything is covered. And recently I have been told that 1 trillion objects will get connected to internet when the Internet of Things really blooms. So I don't know how 1 trillion is to be written. You guys would be knowing better than me. So please write whenever you feel like. So Internet of Things and this global information grid. As you get more and more connected, you become more and more vulnerable. Because there is no structure to it. It's sheer madness. Nobody has planned it, but everybody wants to get the utility. And when the first stage itself has failed, say Microsoft, your Windows operating system started with 4 million lines of codes. And in a span of another 15 or 17 years, they have written another 7 million lines of code. At what pace they have written, I think they should only know. It's physically nearly impossible to write that amount of code with your testing, penetration testing, load testing and the like. Correct. So these are the technologies which will add new dimension to the whole problem: robotics, artificial intelligence, genetics, synthetic biology, nanotechnology, 3D manufacturing, brain science, and virtual reality. So what is the world? Cyber is the world. From pacemaker to nuclear power plants, from text documents to hybrid cloud. What is left? Is anything left? Yes or no? Okay, till the time we don't have commercial agriculture, I think that is left. Correct. Anyway, so that's just for fun. So this is it. This is the other part of the story. All your revolution, all your revolts, Arab Springs, Tunisia, you name it, you have it. So the mobilization of people is also happening through this technology. And the saner, sentimental, emotional side of Paris, which came into Facebook all across the globe, would not have happened because of this, but for this technology. Correct. Is it security enabled? Is cyber world security enabled? Yes or no? Straight answer. No. So software was not security enabled, networking was not security enabled, data center was not security enabled, nothing was security enabled. We thought that it is a honeymoon period which will last forever. But as in real life, so in technology, honeymoons don't last forever. It has a what do you say? Expiry date. No. I think there is a better word. So shelf life, he says. Correct. So I think he has been quite vigilant all since morning. But unfortunately, I am not allowing my shelf life to get over. Okay. Correct. So security was not enabled. So that is where we stand. So 97% of the Fortune 500 companies have been hacked. What about the other 3%? What happened to them? They didn't know that they have been hacked. That is the beauty of the whole story. Correct. So everybody is hacked. Somebody knows, somebody doesn't know. That is the story. So cyber security is the single biggest emerging threat to mankind as of now, and that integrated and mixed up with terrorism. The cocktail is something is totally unimaginable. Social media, big data, ISIS, SCADA, money laundering, this guy, Snowden and company, they have a company, no? Correct. Now, where are you? Give it a thought. Might be it helps the country. Data is at the center of our universe. These all things you are aware of. We have reached the destructive attack stage. Correct. So the internet has lost its innocence. And presently, the cyber security is something which is affecting national security. It is affecting economy. It is affecting your social life. 83% of divorces in United States happen because of the evidence from Facebook. Very interesting. Correct. So anyway, we will not delve into that further. This is the only issue which the world is facing where you don't know who is the victim, who is the aggressor, who is the chore, who is the sipahi, who is what, nobody knows. There are rogue governments. There are democratically elected governments which are much worse. Correct. There are ISIS type characters. Correct. There are local hackers. There are school kids. Everybody is into this trade, and unfortunately, even the antivirus companies are also there. Correct. So this is where we stand. Internal security, external counter-terrorism, rogue states, cyber war, money laundering, underworld, literally anybody and everybody is there. Nobody is able to differentiate who is a state actor, who is a non-state actor, who is an insider, who is outsider. And the insider story is also crazy. We will come to the insider story later. All I intend to communicate by this particular slide is that if technology can be used for the purposes which the Chinese government wants, why can't we use technology for whichever purpose we want? That might not be the goal which a democratic country like India would intend to achieve, but certainly the way technology is being used, I think we can use it for our purposes. We will move further. So who is at the center of the universe, digital world? Mr. Hacker. Mr. Hacker is at the center of the universe and we are all moving all around Mr. Hacker. So that is our fate, that is our state of affairs, and most of the companies feel shy of hiring hackers. So they are contracted upon in a totally different way and somehow they move ahead. Correct. So hackers are the internet immune system. Once the National Security Agency director, he got so scared that one day he put his jeans and t-shirt and went into a hacking community's conference. Not that he believed in hacking, not that he was mandated in a democratic country as being the head of the National Security Agency to attend such a conference, but it was basically a pitiable, pathetic state of affairs that the skills which he desired of to maintain the sovereignty and territorial integrity of this country could be got only there and nowhere else. Could be got there and nowhere else. Let me make it crystal clear. So this is where they stand and this is where we stand. So those earlier days are over. If you kick them out, they will return. So that is where we are. We will not get into any of these details. So there are hacktivists, there is another group of people who are literally running the world. So if you know hacking, if you are an expert in that, you can touch upon any system, we can play around with any system. With that, if you have political ideology, or any ideology for that matter, that information should not be hidden. It should be shared. Duplicity of governments, then it becomes extremely difficult. So all of you are aware of this gentleman, right? So this is the ideology. You know this gentleman also. What do you treat him, hero or a traitor? Hero. How many hero? Correct. I am with you guys. Correct. Only because of a simple access control policy. Simple access control policy, that's all. Correct. He worked in Geneva, he worked in Japan, he worked in Hawaii, he worked with Dell, before that with I think some other company, and then finally ended up with Booz Allen Hamilton. #1 military contractor in the US for last 30-40 years, and he knew that is the place from where he can access things, and out of the 250,000 documents which he copied, which he took away from the National Security Agency, only 32 have been redited, what is they call it, and 32 has been enough to shake the world for all times to come. If those 250,000 is redited, God knows what will happen. Correct. This is another gentleman. One second. Correct. So we are not able to handle him, so finally it comes to ISIS. They have been able to disable some 800 Twitter accounts. Take 5 minutes. Time to detection rate. What is the time to detection rate in a breach? Any idea? How many of you are ready to share your house with the thieves, and for how long? Without feeling uncomfortable. You're eating, drinking, sleeping, shower, anything, you name it, you have it. You really share the house with that guy. You won't do with your parents, children, wife, might be nobody. But you share with those guys. They literally know everything. Correct. It is only 210 days. So that is the technological prowess which we have. Correct. Source code, move further. This is the way, this is the next stage of war. And they were able to do away with the Natanz plant in Iran through this virus. Correct. This is the main mode of communication for the underground economy, as they call it. 0 day, are you aware of 0 day? What is a 0 day vulnerability? Huh? It has not been found before. Correct. And if you find a 0 day vulnerability in iOS, what is the reward which you should expect? Any guess? Only $2 million. Correct. So this is how it goes. We will not get into the details of this. Suffice to say that we are moving into another interesting place, and that is the most happening place. And that place is even more porous than where we are. As if we are not sufficiently drenched by now, we are moving into a much more porous territory. And people want us to believe that this is totally different from what it is today. So new computing paradigm, it has lots of benefits. Nonetheless, only 74.6% people find it to be totally insecure, and that is the #1 challenge which cloud computing faces. Correct. We will not get into any further details. They are showing me a cheat that I should leave this place as early as possible. Nonetheless, I'll take another 5-7 minutes of your time. They have tried this trick with me earlier also, so it's okay, there is no problem. So, number of lines of codes in security software over 10 million. And malware, 125 lines of code is sufficient enough to destroy anything and everything, whatever you feel like, at any point in time from any location to any other location on the face of this earth. Correct. This will not get into. So, what is the weakest link? People, process, technology. So, every time we can very safely blame people. Correct. And they are like that. Nothing can be done. If hundreds and thousands of years we have not been able to create perfect people or produce perfect people, I think we should literally give hope. Correct. So, weakest link, 80% of the issues, it is the people's problem. Correct. When Sony was hacked, attacked by whosoever, on one single Excel sheet, they got 63 passwords. No encryption, nothing. And that is the 4th time when Sony was hacked. Correct. Sony's story is a different story. I will show you that story. So, you have to build a risk-aware culture. That is the most important thing. And top 5 reasons why attacks are possible are all related to system hygiene or user knowledge. However big the attacks might be, this is where everything comes to. It starts from here, it ends here, and small few slides on what is the shadow economy, the underground economy, of what percentage of internet are we able to search or Google. Do you have any idea? Somebody says 5%, any other take? 0.01%. So, anywhere between say 0.03, 0.3 to around 1, 2, 3, whatever. So, that is your take. Rest of it is completely protected. And in a world resource which is completely taken over by criminals, we are still feeling so comfortable. You have to be mad. I don't think there is any other way out. Correct. So, these are the guys who are running the show. These are the guys. Correct. So, this says 4%. They have been, I think, we would have felt too ashamed in telling the correct story. So, anyway, this is where we are, darknet, secret web, whatever you call it. The internet provides a delivery system for the pathological states of mind. It is supposed to be the biggest crime university. Correct. But what we have been seeing over last 2 decades of commercial internet, is there a desire to control? And only if there is a desire to control, some mechanism will come in place, and over a period of evolutionary exercises and iterations and the like, you will be able to develop a mechanism which will be able to deliver in this complex scenario. So, the number 1 MNC in this world is Crime Incorporated. This is the number 1 MNC. $160 billion of data broking. Nearly $400 billion of all other crimes. Correct. So, crime as a service and the payment mechanism is in place. Information sharing between 193 or 94 countries is as good as 0. But there it is perfect. There is perfect. The protocols are in place, literally everything is in place. These are the services which are being provided. Silk Road was investigated upon by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They were charge sheeted. The main guy was booked. But finally, what has happened, instead of one Silk Road, they say thousands of Silk Roads have come up. Correct. Lesson from the Sony bridge. Lip service is the name of the game. We don't learn lessons. That is the lessons which is there. We don't learn lessons. Whatever come may, we will not learn lesson. This public-private partnership I have talked about, foster information security, trying to fight the internet architecture. The bad guys are smart, well-equipped and determined. There is no reason that the good guys can't be the same. Correct. So, we are at the crossroads of technology and humanities. Technology is racing to become mankind's DNA. Transformational changes demand transformational answer. At least together we can, and together we will find a method in the digital management. This is the main crux of the problem, that digital world is global, real time and dynamic. And the real world is divided into 194 nation states, and law and enforcement, investigation and the like generally comes to the local self-government. And the commercial part of it is blindfolded commercialization. So, this is the battle which has become, it has already gone in favor of the other side, that is the asymmetric warfare which is going on. Thanks a lot for your very, very patient hearing. Thank you. से जल्दी नहीं।
Thank you, Mr. Sahai. As always, your presentation was very interesting and showing the facts which we should be all be aware of, though we are not. So, sincere thanks, sir. Now it's time to invite Special IG. Though he is a policeman, but he is a artist from within, a writer from within, and a great expert of his subject. Mr. Brijesh Singh, Special IG, Special Inspector General of CID, Maharashtra Police. A round of applause for this young and phenomenal officer.
सर आपने रोलर कोस्टर बोला था हरिकेन चला दिया सो मैं जो कुछ सोच के आया था वो there's nothing left to be covered but let's talk about how to hack a smart city since everything else has been covered by sir I would talk about how to hack a smart city. Now what is a smart city? It's just a network of intelligent sensors. Ultimately it's just sensors. They are sensing various things, various parameters. Now, how difficult it is to hack a smart city? I would give you some live examples, and probably we can discuss how we can, go ahead and hack a smart city. So, this demo is available on the internet. You can check up. There's a chap called Cerudo, C-E-R-R-U-D-O. He flew a drone over a city in the US and changed all the traffic lights. How interesting. So anything that you see around that works and has an interface can be controlled is hackable. If it is hackable, it will be hacked. So you can just Google for Cerudo and hacking cities' traffic lights. You would see a demo of how to hack cities' traffic lights. Now there are various examples wherein all the doomsday scenarios which you see in movies are actually very much possible today. Now, whatever you see, maybe it may be probably the simple light which moves on instruction, your lift, or any, as sir was talking about, SCADA devices. SCADA devices are devices which tell a system what to do, to work, to stop. Let's say if you have an oil rig, then it reads temperature, pressure, and tells what to do at what particular settings. Now, if it has an interface, that interface can be accessed. If that interface can be accessed, it can be hacked. There are vulnerabilities in system about which we don't know. The system admins don't know, but the bad guys know. And there are forums, where they actively share this information. So, these exploits are expensive. Sometimes they are available for a payment. So if you want to hack a particular system, probably you have to, let's say, give the model number of a thing. You would be able to hack a system. Most expensive equipment of the world, let's say the highest, the most costing CCTV cameras, they have been exploited in this simple way. Download the firmware, check the firmware for what kind of accesses are available where. Ultimately, it would be having some kind of an admin interface, a fault repair interface. So most of the things, they have an interface which you are not aware of, which is used for repair, and it can be accessed. You would not believe that 99% of the default passwords on systems are never changed. So it's not as difficult as we imagine to get into a system with distributed computing. Now once you'll have a smart city, you'll have all these systems which are not within your physical control. So today, of all sectors which have protected infrastructure, there is at least physical security. So there is somebody manning and seeing that nobody is tinkering with your systems. Tomorrow, all your sensors are out in the open. If somebody has access to them, it may be anything. It may be communicating with RFID. It may be communicating with any other technology. Once he has access, he not only has access to that particular device, which is out there, vulnerable, but through that, he can have access to your system. Okay, how difficult it is to sit on your cable line and have access to your smart TV? How difficult it is? And to start its camera and start recording you, how difficult is that? Do you think it's possible? How many people have smart TVs? Do you have smart TVs at home? Which run Skype and which run Facebook and which run everything? The exploit is very simple. It doesn't require much brains. See, all of the things which you are using have an embedded operating system. Now the operating system has been designed primarily for functionality, and security is an afterthought. It has not been evolved for security. Now all these hard-coded devices, once an exploit is available, this exploit is shared. So anybody wanting to access this can access this. It goes further. What you can then do is that point this device to get a firmware upgrade. You can totally replace the firmware of your smart TV with a custom firmware which I may be putting on your device. You may not be aware that you may be using a TV which is spying on you. Now imagine a scenario when, and this doesn't require great hacking capabilities. All these demos are available, you can check them. You can Google for how to hack a smart TV. So you don't know that your TV may be hacked for years, and people may be actually viewing you when you are in your bedroom. So the problem is that systems will evolve. It will take long time before we think of security in these systems. They have never been evolved with the thought of security. Tomorrow, transportation, health, water, your waste disposal, everything is going to be controlled by a so-called smart system. But these smart systems are not as smart as they seem. They may actually turn out to be very dumb systems. Now, what do we do in this scenario? What is the way out? So, is there a fail-safe method of communication which detects breaches as they happen? Because you never know, somebody may be sitting in the system. Today, let us say for any government or military purpose, if you purchase a hardware, you never know, if there's a backdoor in the hardware already. So people may be aware of the Red October, scam, spying thing which happened, wherein Chinese devices were given to government officials, the Huawei chips, and they had a backdoor, and a lot of government data went back to China. So there are many governments which are not allowing hardware from outside, and we are only making software. That too for others. We are not making our own hardware also. We don't have our own operating system also. So I don't know how we are going to work in a world where we are talking of smart cities. As sir was talking about Stuxnet, I'll go into a bit more detail about Stuxnet. Most of people must have heard about Stuxnet. Okay, it's a worm. Iran was developing its nuclear facility of uranium enrichment. Now, when they calculated the cost of destroying it, they found that it was below 25 feet of concrete. So they decided that it would take a war to destroy that, because once you bomb Iran or its nuclear facility, it's going to strike back. And the cost of that was very high. They thought they'd coordinate with Israel, this, that, but they got it done with a smart piece of code. Now what Stuxnet did was that it affected, it's like a weapon designed for you. It doesn't affect anything else. So if there is Stuxnet on your computer, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to look for a particular programmable logic controller that sits on a Siemens system. Only one particular thing. And what? That which controls the centrifuges of the nuclear reactor. Now interesting. And this doesn't spoil every centrifuge. It has some kind of algorithm wherein systematically, if the reading is, let's say, 5000 RPM, it will show it to be 3000 RPM. And again, it would be reading readings all day and replaying it as if all the readings are normal. Slowly your centrifuges, so within a year, Iran had to shut down the Natanz facility. So what they could not achieve with F-16s and planes, some lines of code. Actually, it's one of the best piece of malware ever written in the world. It took few years to develop, and people are still dissecting it. But as he said, that it's the ultimate game changer. Because till now, you couldn't jump out of your computer and do things. Today, you're destroying nuclear facility. But it's not just nuclear facility. Tomorrow, you start entering hospitals and start changing the parameters which are on life support systems. You would never know what kind of readings you are seeing, whether they are real or not. So in the heart of smart cities are these small operating systems which have never been made for security, which have never been designed for security. And then there are various layers: the physical layer, the network layer, the management layer, the database layer, and the cloud. You never know, and all of these systems have their vulnerabilities. So now it's like an open bazaar for the hacker. He would be feeling so happy. What should I hack? Should I hack the network? Should I hack the hardware? So before we jump to this bandwagon of making our city smart and converting everything to let's say a smart platform, we have to consider what kind of security, what kind of fail-safe mechanism we are having to ensure that there is an early detection of breach. Let's say if you are having a smart parking system, somebody gets to a mechanism where he gets a smart RFID tag, he manipulates that and he's parking free. Or let's say if you have a ticketing system, somebody invents a small, exploits a small bug in your system and he's traveling free. You would never come to know, because all of this is based on trust relationships. So your devices, your applications are talking to each other once they establish a trust relationship. Once you get into the trust relationship, now you can do anything. So I was talking about hacking a smart TV. It doesn't just hack your smart TV. Once I am into your smart TV, then I can get your Wi-Fi password. Once I get into your Wi-Fi password, I get into all your other hardware storage devices which you have kept. I can get to all your credentials. I can get to all your passwords. I can get to everything, all your net activity. So we have to understand that smart may be actually dumb. Now, is the scenario so bad? No, it's not so bad. What we are trying to do is we are trying to retrofit. We are trying to use simple sensors. We are trying to put it into a complex environment. But we'll have to come up with a system which originally has been built with security. Let's say optical fiber. Now, or any kind of optic communication. If you disrupt an optic communication, no, it would be immediately known. Or, various methods of encryption which are till now just a modicum of difficulty. You can cross encryption. It's not very difficult. It depends on the kind of computing power you have. Or as, he was referring to human engineering. So, social engineering. Somebody can always be compromised. He may be compromised due to his stupidity, due to his use. Like you see, most of the places, my 11-year-old child, she has a knack of guessing passwords. She says passwords are in these 5 types. So she said, tell me, I can guess your password. And she guesses passwords. So when I got the new Samsung phone, I was teasing my wife. I said, don't look at my password, because I was using my fingerprint. She said something into my wife's ear. I said, what did she say? So my wife says, she says, when he's sleeping, put his hand to the phone. So smart can be so dumb, right? So all your biometrics goes for a toss, because somebody has thought of it, which somebody has not thought of it. Like this, if you think, the hacker of today must be feeling like a god, because he can do what you can never think of. People have, using the Wi-Fi of a plane, demonstrated that they can take control of the aeroplane. People who have been traveling behind a car have taken control of that car and applied brakes through Bluetooth. This is all happening. This is all possible. This is not impossible. But see, as platforms evolve, the way desktops evolved, the way internet evolved, the way smartphones evolved, so security evolved with that. With smart cities, it will be a steep learning curve. We will establish huge facilities, but once you have large power outages, you will have water outages. So we should not put everything critical on, it's a word of caution. Probably being from law enforcement, I think this way. Then if this happens, do we have the capability to investigate it, to detect it? I doubt. Because the systems which are being used in a so-called smart city, the systems are dumb. They don't leave a server log. They don't leave, detailed footprints. The systems are dumb. They can be hacked. They can be gotten into. Once you get into them, you are a god. You can control a lot of things. This can have implications. And there are people and there are agencies who have the capability and are continuously trying to do this. Let's say ISIS. ISIS has a very good cyber wing. And they are continually looking at, national systems. Similarly, nation states are looking at each other. So tomorrow, see, the war is no more at frontier. The war has come home today. You never know what is happening. What all is known is probably, 0. Some % of what is happening. You would never know how long spying is going on, systems are compromised, information is being breached, financial data is getting lost. So I would like to just end with a word of caution that, when we jump to smart cities, our first and foremost, though security is costly, and that is why we don't invest in security. So a word of caution that functionality should not compromise with security, and let us not make smart cities dumb. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you may please ask.
Both of you all have painted a very scary picture. True, false, we don't know. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
You gave us a, advice of caution. Is there something beyond that? We can't live without smart cities, and we won't be able to live without the internet, and we won't be able to live without a lot of things that we are used to. What is it that we need to do as a common man will be able to do? Because a lot of things that Sanjay ji said, people don't know. A lot of things that you said, people don't know. What is the solution to this? Because otherwise, the next conference will still be talking about this.
May I answer that, sir?
Yeah, please.
See, as a domain, security has similar situations in, let's say, real life also. So what do you do when you are faced with, let's say, a terrorist threat? You do something called target hardening. So you apply some kind of mechanism which makes it difficult for the person who has a nefarious design to access into your system, to get into your system. Now, these are very simple things which can be done. For example, if you're using a smartphone, then do you ever check the app permissions? There are simple apps like, let's say, Torch. Why does a Torch app need to have access to your contacts? And if you actually go and read, it starts owning all your data. So by employing something which just turns out your flashlight, you are giving control of all your data and identity to an app. Now, you have to live with apps, but then you have to be discerning. Similarly, there are very simple methods. So when we started with emails, then there was a set of conditions which you started to enforce to make your email more secure by using passwords which are difficult to crack. So even adding, let's say, an alphanumeric character increases the degree of complexity. It doesn't stop the hacker from getting access to your passwords. But let's say if you put a nonsensical password which is not prone to a dictionary attack, you are increasing the level of difficulty. And by a cost-benefit analysis, he would go for the low-hanging fruit. So you would be considerably secure. But if you are a high-value target, and if you know that, then your level of security should be matching that. You should spend on security. Security cannot be an afterthought into, let's say, even a smart city.
See, security, if it does not hit your mind at all, and it is commerce from beginning till the end, so this is where we have finally landed. So that's one part of the story. The second part, talking about the torchlight and all that. In US, they say if you read all those I agree and I submit and all that, it will take 74 working days annually to read whatever they sign on. Correct? And most importantly, how many of us in this room do take all the precautions which we should take as a user? 80% of the issues will get sorted out. If you are able to, or if you are ready to, put some thought and put some discipline in your digital management of things. I think that is all I would like to say. And be comfortable and conversant with whatever technology you use. Until you are not comfortable and conversant, please don't use that technology. It is like wearing somebody else's suit and going somewhere, and it will hit you in whichever way, wherever, and people will make a fun of you. And things will be in a very, very embarrassing situation. You would have landed, I have landed. All of us have landed in such situations. So I think precaution is the name of the game. Handle yourself properly in a disciplined, in a reasonably technical manner, and see that your employees and others also behave in the same manner. If we keep buying softwares without getting into the source code, Windows 10 has a keylogger, which is by default enabled. It's left to you whether you want that to remain enabled or you want to disable it before you start working. दम है VR game, we don't have any problem.
Sir, this is actually coming from purely the research that you have. It simply shows that you've done a lot of research over a period of time. So when networks were being hacked, UTMs were developed, unified threat machines. I'm sure you've also deployed a lot of networks. And so similarly, for smart cities, is there any progress in across the globe for cities like Tel Aviv and other cities? Any penetration testing or vulnerability testing? Or are these going to be the answers to the problems that you've just quoted?
I'm not very sure as to what is happening in Amsterdam, Barcelona, or Tel Aviv and other cities of that nature because it's a very modern concept. In those places also, it's been only last 2-3 years that things of this nature has been happening, and I don't think anybody is satisfied with whatever progress has taken in those places. Nonetheless, what I would say is as far as the Indian smart cities are concerned and the 100 which is there already in the pipeline, we should have standard systems, standard structures, standard protocols on which we should run. And as Brijesh has been saying, simple softwares to start with. I think for one of these Challenger or some space shuttles, it was running on 486 processor. What is the need to get into complicated things if we don't need them? See, we are running behind technology as if we have gone mad. And most of us, even the enterprise, are using technology which they actually don't require. You're putting in cameras in our video surveillance project, which is those 4K and the like, and you don't have any video analytics capability. It would be extremely nice to start on very simple, strong foundations and to build upon it. Otherwise, we will not be able to create something which is literally of our requirement and which will see us through time and space, and we'll keep facing problems over and over again. We are through.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for our two interesting policemen. Thank you very much, sir. I'll request Honorable Principal Secretary IT, Mr. V.K. Gautam, to kindly present mementos to our eminent speakers who spoke really well on how to ensure physical and cyber security for having safe cities in India, and taking examples from abroad, starting with Mr. Sanjay Sahai, Additional Director General of Karnataka Police, and Mr. Brijesh Singh, Special Inspector General, CID, Maharashtra Police. I'll request for a group photo with our Principal Secretary, with these two eminent officers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause again for the speakers of this session.